From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. Direct from Santa Monica, California, with the breaking news today. The President of the United States addressed the American people overnight in the State of the Union address and said the Build Back Better Act will pass. Of all those incredible checks are going out, folks. Those incredible checks include everything the president name-dropped, even though many thought, including myself, he would have mentioned any of these incredible checks. We're going to go over all these incredible sums of money that are in Build Back Better Act that President Biden mentioned last night, and what he also mentioned, but are still going out. Then we'll be looking at CR for Stimulus 1.0. The president actually gave a little jab at CR for Stimulus. I'll go over the latest details. If you missed it, it was very slight. I'll have the latest details on today's afternoon's broadcast. Then, one of the most important things when we talk about SS300 to raise your benefits up $200 a month starting less than 30 days from now is the interest rates. And where are they? Well, your head of the Federal Reserve, Jay Powell, testified on Capitol Hill in new comments of many comments this week, and boy, are they great news. I have the incredible breaking news about what Jay Powell said and how it impacts your SS300 in today's recording. Then we'll be looking at the price of Brent crude as it's surging out of control, as the situation in Ukraine and Russia is very fluid. The latest details about that, and then big viewers, big money. Viewers are cleaning up with $5,000 overnight. Have you gotten $1,000 of checks today? Did you get checks yesterday? Did you get checks this weekend? Well, I'm going to show you the viewers are winning, getting big sums of money by the minute, by the hour, and by the day. It's available right here, and stay to the very end, because I stand with Ukraine. You should stand with Ukraine. In today's recording, we have the latest details from there, from here, your money and your wallet. It's a great afternoon with the great news across the land as the Build Back Better Act will pass, and the details start right here as a big afternoon broadcast with all these incredible checks from there to here and around and above come to fruition, and all the incredible details start on Afternoons LA as we go into the latest details today. Let's see what we go, let's see how we get the money, and let's see how it wakes up all across the board. The incredible details start right now. What's important to understand when you're looking at Build Back Better Act is there's a lot of checks, and those checks amount to at least $15,000 as a checks. And those incredible checks were reaffirmed last night in comments by the President of the United States during the State of the Union address. Now, going into that State of the Union address, I certainly said to viewership of this channel, I didn't have to expect the President to even mention Build Back Better by name, or let alone any of those checks, or any of the sums of money, or any of the programs. Well, he did all of the above. He did way more than I ever anticipated. And he assured the American people that the Build Back Better Act is getting passed. Wow, that is huge news. Let's go over all these incredible checks in the Build Back Better Act. And there is at least $15,000 to $60,000 of checks, 3 clusters, and 3 add-ons. Let's look at that first cluster. Hazard pay got in there for my earned income tax credit workers. Earned income tax credit for my essential workers. Incredible. $4,000 of elder care. $4,000 of care for young children. They got in there the CTC, the child tax credit checks as well. They got in there the $3,600 for the children, the $550 check for the Pell Grant, the big money to repair your home, and a lot of all incredible other checks. This is the first of 3 clusters of checks and 3 add-ons that got into Build Back Better. But the first add-on of checks comes from here in Southern California. It's huge, and it is, wow. Yeah, you're seeing that number right. Oh my goodness, that is incredible. That is money to the purchase of your first home. Maxine Waters here from Southern California got it in there. Just a little bit less than $25,000 for the purchase of your first home. Can you imagine? That is incredible. That is the first of 3 add-ons of checks that got in there on the House side, stayed in there, and validated and pushed and advocated by your President of the United States during the State of the Union address last night. And that sets us up for the second cluster of checks, home repairs and paid leave. The President of the United States actually even mentioned paid leave during the State of the Union address last night. Who would have ever thought? I did not even predict him to do that. In this second cluster, they have paid leave, $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 or more per year. If you make $35,000 or more per year, it's $800 a week. If you make $50,000 or more per year, it's $400 a week. 4 to 6 weeks per year, it's huge. Got it in there. W-2, 1099, you get paid across the land. If you don't work or your son or daughter does work, then they get the check if they have to take off from work because they had to watch Mitt Romney yawn during the State of the Union address. Now, it's just shocking that the president really actually name-checked some of these programs and said, not only are we doing Build Back Better, but I want to tell you, I want to go over some of the programs with you during prime time. I told you all yesterday, folks, I did not expect the president even to mention the word Build Back Better. I did not expect him to actually mention a program or even mention a check. He went far more in detail than I ever anticipated, and this is huge across the land. Now let's go into the second add-on of checks. And that second add-on of checks is the incredible home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. And Joe Biden really went for this one as well last night. Can you imagine? I'll have all his incredible comments in just a second. And of course, stay with me. At 5 o'clock tonight is the incredible 1-hour special broadcast that is heating up the nation. It is the best financial 1-hour special report you've seen in America tonight. And it returns again this evening at 5 o'clock. $250 billion of free home health care got in there for seniors and people on disabilities. And the president mentioned it last night as well. Let's go to that third cluster of checks. And this is where the president actually went over some of the items in this cluster during the State of the Union address last night. He talked about cheaper prescription medication. Also, the checks for seniors. There's free internet in there in that third cluster. Free school meals for all checks. And then the farmers, the dental, the vision, the hearing, the Medicare. Wow. He also talked about the cheaper prescription medications last night. House and Senate. House got in there some of the provisions, which are the Medicaid gap fix and the hearing. But the president went beyond that. He talked about the provisions he wants the Senate to add in there. Wow, that was huge. Dental, vision, and lowering the eligibility of Medicare, which is par for course when we're talking about checks that would be added to this recon. The checks that would be added to this recon include the MSC. President made it very clear that the fourth stimulus recon will pass, that everything that Senate wants to add to the recon will get passed. The president even encouraged items to be added, like items that were not even included so far in the House. And MSC is among those. Wow, this was a real great news night across the land. Now, when we look at that MSC, what are we looking at across the board? We're looking at the addition of additional checks. What is an MSC? MSC stands for Monthly IRS Stimulus Check. It's a check that would go out from IRS to you on a monthly basis. Legislators lead the legislative branch, not the President of the United States. He gives encouragement. But last night he gave big encouragement. And he said, I want all the money in Build Back Better, whatever you want to put in there, going out. Who gets this fourth stimulus check? It's the same as a third stimulus check. The legislators represented the viewership of this channel since last year. Wow, great news. Single individual, $75,000 less, you get it, annual income. Married couple, $150,000 less, you get it, double it. Family of four, here they are. Family of four, you get it, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, you get it as well. It's not income, it's not taxable. It's offered on a nationwide basis. It's not state stimulus. In California, we get electric surfboard instead. And that one viewer said, my fiance says you have to pay it back. No, but look at the engagement return policy. I think you still are within the 30-day window. It goes off the most recent tax return. So if that tax return had direct deposit, that's how you get paid. And there you go. That is MSC. How much? $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter for up to 6 months. And they could do even more across the land. Now, MSC is a body of checks that would be added to the recon that already has a lot of checks in there, upwards of $15,000 to $60,000 of checks. But what's important to know when we're looking at the fourth stimulus recon, well, there's a way to get you a check sooner than that. And what is it called? It's called CR for Stimulus. I stand with Ukraine. There's a beautiful heart that has the blue on the top and the yellow on the bottom. I know I'm a little bit out of frame, but trying to show it to you. CR for Stimulus 1.0 was actually jabbed at by the president last night. If you missed it, I'll give you the recap right now. CR for Stimulus is the opportunity to get you a check into a continuing resolution that has an inherent deadline just a few days from now. The concept is very simple. It was created by me in 2020. The concept is inserting a stimulus check into something that's faster, sooner, and upon us right now. Continuing resolution is a budget bill to fund the federal government done every 3 to 6 months. Bipartisan, inherent deadline just around the corner. So in 2020, I came up with the idea. And last night, the president went sort of jabbing at it. Let me go over the latest details of what's at issue. The concept is that in early March, there's a continuing resolution, and we can insert a stimulus check in there. Sound novel? It's not. I created the idea in 2020, and it became law. I made history, and the viewership of this made history. What happened? In spring of 2020, we had gotten a first stimulus check. We used it up. We needed more money. And then we see the negotiations for a potential second stimulus package go on 11 months, too long. And I said, we need a solution. So I got up with the idea, use a continuing resolution as a vehicle to put a check into it. Continuing resolution is a small bill, just a few hundred pages length, has bipartisan support, has an inherent deadline. They don't roll it over weeks or months. And all you have to do is put it out. And in 2020, I made the advocacy on this channel to put a stimulus check in the December 2020 continuing resolution. Guess what? I made that creation on this channel. The viewership of this channel, Purple Power, went on social media and advocated for it. And together, we made history. The CR for Stimulus 2020 made history. $600 stimulus check went out. You got it. And guess what also happened? Second stimulus fell apart. Never paid anyone any money. Never had a bill, never had a vote. Thank goodness for CR for Stimulus 2020. 5 weeks ago, I said, do you want to bring it back? Viewer said yes. Bring it on back. And it is back on, baby. CR for Stimulus 1.0. Where are we right now on it? Tonight. CR for Stimulus has still $1.5 trillion of discretionary spending in a continuing resolution, which is a small bill that has bipartisan support, Republicans and Democrats, House and Senate, weeks of negotiations, and no one is taking away the money. But Joe Biden last night tried to take some of it away. Or he joked about it. Did you see the smirk? I'll tell you what went on. If you've been watching this channel late last week, it was like Thursday or Wednesday last week, I told you that Joe Biden wanted to try to grab some of that money for COVID. Yeah. And the leadership of the Senate said, no, Mr. President, we'll give you some money, but it's not going to be from the CR. You just stay away from the CR money, Mr. President. This is, that's not for you. And there was the restaurant union. They tried to take some money as well. So last night, the President of the United States said, and I want some more money for COVID. I'm going to come back and get that money from you again. I think everyone sort of like put up their hands and said, stay away from our CR. Stay away from our CR. So what's the latest details on the CR for Stimulus? I have that in the second half of this video. Big details. Then we'll look at CR for Stimulus 2 and 3.0, the latest updates on that. I'm very, very, very happy tonight, folks. Why? Because when we talk about SS300, we have been on a tight rope of tippy-toeing, waiting to hear from this guy, Jay Powell. Jay Powell, whose job is to bring down inflation. And remember, inflation brings up your benefits if you're on SS3, SSI, and SSDI, Social Security Rail benefits, with SS300. We've been waiting on tooth and nail to hear Jay Powell speak at Capitol Hill and give us guidelines of what he's going to do on interest rates and bringing down inflation in the next 5 months, and if he's going to pivot based upon the events of what's happening in Ukraine. Tonight, I have great news, and I'm really excited for you. I have it coming up after the commercial break. Then, the situation on oil is unraveling by the minute. Price of gasoline really skyrocketing by the hour. Between broadcasts on this channel that sometimes are an hour apart, we're seeing the price of barrel going out of control. What happened last night? And what happened with the situation? And what is the pivot by the White House today? Is the president pivoting the way I recommended him to do? He is, and it's a good idea, but I think he needs to do more. All the latest details on how it impacts your wallet in the second half. Guess what? Stay to the very end, because I'm going to show you how to get thousands of dollars. Viewers doing it every day. Another viewer who got $40,000 on this channel last year, got $10,000 on this channel last week. Listen to me yesterday. Listen to me the day before. She went back and got another $1,000+. This should be you and can be you. Cashing checks is what we're doing here by a daily basis. Coming up in the second half of this video. Plus, I'll give you a preview of the 1-hour special on Evenings LA tonight. It's a big, major breaking news report. You don't want to miss it. The latest details from the battleground in Ukraine and how it impacts your wallet at home. All those incredible details coming up after the commercial break. But first, if you need help getting big sums of money, We have that community page. The wonderful volunteers available there to assist you if you have any questions. I'll see you back in 60 seconds as a big Afternoons LA broadcast continues. But first, here's a little bit about the community page. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Afternoons LALATE, second part, starting right now. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, the great news overnight is the President of the United States addressed the Build Back Better Act last night and says all those incredible checks are going out. And he reassured American people that all the incredible programs detailed in this video on this channel are going to the finish line. I did not even expect that. I'll have a little bit of the preview of what's covered on tonight on Evenings LA as I go through some of those chronicable quotes. Then we'll be looking at the Federal Reserve Chairman Jay Powell's comments today on inflation rates and interest rates. What is he doing and what is he anticipating to pivot based upon the situation in Ukraine? I have the latest details on that tonight on Afternoons right now. Then we'll be going back into your big money. Thousands of dollars you can get right today. Have you cleaned up with thousands of dollars? I hope you have. It's a big second half of the quarter, and I'm excited you're here. And boy, is it a lot of breaking news across the board. And more coming up tonight. But first, I want you to subscribe. You're watching LALATE, the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America. Hit that subscribe button right now. Our 5 o'clock Evenings LALATE 1 hour special reports are absolutely out of control. The show 2 nights ago was the most watched show on this channel in 3 months. The one last night was equally as watched. You want to not miss that show because it's a 1 hour special report that impacts your money, shows you the big sums of money that you can get across the board. It's coming up later tonight. And then, of course, we got Evenings Countdown, Evenings Extra at 8 o'clock, and I Support Ukraine at 7 o'clock, the home edition. All right, let's go into the incredible CR for Stimulus 1.0 and its latest update. Everything is lined up perfectly, folks, for CR for Stimulus 1.0. Inherent deadline early March. 1. $1.5 trillion of discretionary funds in there. 2. Done. Bipartisan support? Yes. Small bill? Yes. So what are we looking at right now? Just advocacy. The President of the United States jabbing last night that maybe you want to take some of that money. Not happening. So you want to advocate because we're at a crunch line. We're at a crunch point at which those legislators really have an opportunity to make sure they do the right thing and not take the money for a park or a lobster festival. So make sure you advocate to Casey, Coons, Warren, Wyden. What do you want to say? Very simple. $1.5 trillion of discretionary funds are in the continuing resolution. It's an early March deadline. You got it, bipartisan deal. You're done. We're not asking for adding money to it. We're just asking that you give us a $2,000 stimulus check out of it. You can do it. You've done it before in 2020. And what's at issue here is that there is a real telling sign. And you can take it up a notch in your conversation because you should be contacting their offices in D.C. and saying, hey, get us the money. This is what you should say. We have your support and we have the president's support for Build Back Better, but it's been 11 months. And while the president says it's going to happen, we need a check right now. Inflation's out of control. Oil's out of control. We need that money. So get a check in that continuing resolution. You have the funds dedicated, send it out across the land, and away we rock and roll. Advocate, pick up the phone, and continue your social media campaign. You've been really good on Twitter, especially. All right, CR for Stimulus 2 and 3.0. Those are those economic pieces of legislation coming out of the House, go into the Senate. Inherent deadline, not really. So that's not really like right in front of us at the moment. But they say they're going to merge it. The House version, Democrats, the Senate version, led by the Democrats. The next item that really is right in front of us and needs to be done literally today is SS 300. What is SS 300? The SS 300 concept is to raise your benefits up by replacing COLA with inflation. Doesn't require a act of Congress or executive order, only requires a phone call from the President of the United States to the Social Security Administrator saying replace COLA with inflation. Why does Joe Biden need to do it right today? Not only did he promise to do it, and not only do you need it, but also because inflation is at its highest price point ever, and you want to do it now before Jay Powell pivots and starts bringing down inflation. So what's the latest details on Jay Powell? Here he is. He's the head of the Federal Reserve. His job is to keep our inflation down. You want inflation down, but you want it to go down after it's tied to your benefits. You don't want inflation to go down and then it's tied to your benefits. So Jay Powell has a task at hand. His task is to bring inflation down by raising interest rates. Okay, how does he do it? He has 5 meetings of his organization called the FOMC meetings in 5 months, 1 meeting per month. Going into the strife, the acts of aggression by Vladimir Putin against Ukraine, we thought we were going to have 5 meetings with 5 interest rate spikes. About 2 weeks before Vladimir Putin started acting up, we worried we may have 7 interest rate spikes in 5 meetings. And then the last few days before Vladimir Putin was really about to start up, we thought maybe the first meeting of the FOMC in March, just a few days from now, would be a half basis point. We had always thought these were going to be quarter basis point. Half is more aggressive. Half means inflation will come down very quickly. And so we have been waiting on bated breath day in, day out on this channel, trying to get indication what Jay Powell would say during his week-long appearances on Capitol Hill this week to give us guidance of what he's going to say about his plans to deal with inflation at those 5 meetings. Will we say 5 spikes in 5 meetings, 7 spikes in 7 meetings? Will we say a quarter? And this is what I had predicted going into today's recording. Yesterday I said, I think he needs to say March will be a quarter. We're not doing a half. Half is too severe. We don't know what's happening with Vladimir Putin. Situation's too fluid on the ground in Ukraine. We don't want to do something too strong. We can wiggle later on if we haven't done enough. And yet I was still worried yesterday because Jay Powell likes to give himself wiggle room, as he should. I was worried that maybe he wouldn't say much at all and we'd still be guessing today. Well, Jay Powell, I love you, man. I love you, man. Because Jay Powell did, I think, the best thing he has ever done in the history of this channel. He came in and he said exactly what you wanted him to say. Ukraine, Russia, too fluid. I'm not doing a half basis point. I'm doing a quarter basis point this meeting in March, and we're staying a quarter basis point for now. If we need to pivot and do a little bit more later on, then we'll do more. But at the moment, I'm doing a quarter. My goodness. I mean, can I send him a Christmas card early? I know it's not, it's the wrong time of the year. Can I say, maybe it's Easter basket? This is wonderful news because you do not want someone hitting inflation really hard when we don't know what's going on with Ukraine and Russia. So he literally said the following comments, that we're going to avoid adding unnecessity. We're going to avoid adding uncertainty, what's already an extraordinary, challenging, and uncertain moment. To the extent that inflation comes in higher, more persistence higher later on, after all these weeks of dealing with Putin, we would be prepared then to move more aggressively by raising the rate more than 25 basis points at a meetings or meetings later on. Wow, that is wonderful. That is absolutely incredible news. I'll have more of his incredible comments tonight on Evenings LA during that 1 hour special broadcast. But the takeaway is that Inflation, where it is now, is likely to stay where it is. I've been really right on inflation, predicting it, telling you where it's going, and giving what my predictions of what this is called. It's called Fed speak, giving you my prediction of what Jay Powell's going to do. Last year, I said that inflation was going to be 8% in December 2021. It was not going to be temporary. It's not going to go down and just be just 1 month. Jay Powell says it's going to be 1 to 2%, and says it's going to come back down. No, it came in at 7.5%. So where is it right now if Joe Biden swapped out your benefits for SSI and SSDI? It's clearly at about 8. It's clearly not come down. Jay Powell's governors have been talking in the last few days, including one in Santa Barbara over the weekend, saying, wherever we were last month, we're probably about the same. We're not coming down just yet. And that is why Joe needs to make the phone call. Joe, make the phone call. Call over to the Social Security Administrator and say, hey, replace COLA with inflation. Do it now. You want to do it right now because we're at the highest point of inflation right now. 8%, 7.5%. It's somewhere around there. And yeah, I know it's tracking 12% in some cities and counties and states. But the great news from Jay Powell is he's going to bring it down, but he ain't going to kill it overnight. He's not going to clamor inflation down to a small number overnight. So that's why the president needs to make that phone call right today. How does this calculate for you? What's at issue? How does this work? The way this works is very simple, is that with a phone call to the Social Security Administrator, Joe Biden can simply say, replace COLA with inflation. And when you do that, immediately your benefits will go up $200 a month. Now, this is why Joe should do it, because SS 200 was not only his campaign promise, but also his platform as president. It's on JoeBiden.com. And he wrote that after he was elected into office, he would provide you additional $200 a month if you're on benefits. Why? Because in November 2020, you are hurting. Well, guess what? You're hurting more today because of inflation and runaway energy prices. So, this does not require an act of Congress, an executive order, just requires a phone call. And this is the way he would give millions of Americans in so much need, so much wonderful help, with a tool he has, persuasion, picking up the phone and contacting the Social Administrator, saying replace COLA with inflation, and away we go. What would happen? Because inflation is 8% right now, and because Jay Powell did that great statement today, gave that great statement today, you go up about $200 a month right now. Even if we did a month from now, or 2 months now, it'd still probably be about 8%. We're good. And that's despite whatever happens with Vladimir Putin. You get locked in there. And remember, once your benefits go up, they never go down. Then, when we look at December, you probably be about 4% later this year, inflation. That would be about another $100, SS 300. So this is lining up perfectly, folks. I've seen your great advocacy on social media. You've been wonderful. You've understood the knowledge. There's nothing I love more about my viewers than your ability to perceive information, learn information, and make yourself more educated and more informed across the board. And you have been really pushing hard with the president to swap COLA for inflation. Please make those phone calls. Please make that advocacy, because this is something, I'm not creating the wheel here. He said he was going to do it. He has it published on JoeBiden.com. I'm just telling him, do it right now. It's so simple. It could literally be done by the end of the day, and you can see the benefits no less than 30 days out. And that is where we are on that front tonight. Now, another front that is very, very telling is a situation which is unraveling by the minute, and that is the price of gasoline at the pump. The price of gasoline at the pump will be detailed extensively on tonight's Evenings in LA. But folks, this is a Joe Biden diplomacy international issue, and it's all because of Vladimir Putin. What's at issue? Price of gasoline is spiraling out of control internationally because Russian oil is out of circulation in certain countries because of the sanctions. Now, Vladimir Putin is not the number one provider of oil around the globe, but some countries are very dependent upon it. Countries produce oil if they can and store it, or they buy it if they can't produce it. Countries like Italy produce more olive oil than Brent crude oil. So they're dependent upon Russia to get oil. If there was no Russian oil being provided to them, where are they going to get it from? This is why diplomacy between these Western Alliance countries need to pivot and say, get some oil from Japan over to Italy. Get some oil from India over to Italy. Because you can't have Italy go under, because if they go under, our economy's hurt. Back in the United States, the situation is unraveling by the minute, and this is a very fluid situation. It is very political, it is very environmental, and it is very, very important. Let me tell you where we are right now, folks. And every time I see these numbers, I prepare hours for all these broadcasts. And sometimes I see these numbers, I just sort of stare at. I want to stare at for 5 minutes. I'm shocked. Yesterday morning's LALATE, I told you how much the price of oil had surged in overnight. Then in 2 hours later, I was live on air at noontime. It had surged, I think, $5 more. Today, in 24 hours, the price of gasoline since yesterday's broadcast has surged nearly $13. That's 13% in 24 hours. No bueno. Okay, let's go over the numbers because I need you to know the numbers, and you're doing a really good job on these numbers. Where is the price of gasoline? And let me first tell you, I don't want to scare you, but I got to tell you why this is important. You can get a stimulus check. You can get rent assistance because of COVID. You can get housing assistance. You can get all these incredible sums of money. But if gasoline is out of control, the economy will go to smithereens. The gasoline in the United States has to be stabilized, the price, and also internationally. Why? If you don't, you have the following: massive unemployment, recession, stagflation. Everything you and I have worked together to get stabilized, financial independence on this channel, will go to smithereens overnight. And who cares if you get $7,000 of stimulus checks? They'll be worthless if the gasoline is out of control. So we need to know what that number is and what number we can sustain at. Here's the situation. We can sustain 6 months at the current inflation rate, which is going to stay stable at the moment because of J-Pow, at about $100 a barrel in the United States. Where are we right tonight? We're not there. At the time of this broadcast, currently made at about 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, we're hovering at 107. Throughout today, we've been 106 to 113. Yesterday, we were 101 in the morning, then 105 at 2 hours later. So you see how quickly we're zooming. We were 100 on the weekend. We were 94 last Friday. So you see how quickly we're going up. We're going up almost $20 in 2 days of this channel, 3 days of this channel. Analysts believe that we can stay at 100, but we can't do 110. We can't do 120. So what are the solutions? What are the options? What are the issues tonight? First, I want you to understand politically the situation at home. We as a country do produce oil. But there's a political issue at hand, and it's the progressives versus the moderate Democrats. The progressive Democrats want us to pivot to more energy consciousness, less oil consumption or production. The moderate Democrats say, you know what, we need energy. We can't just get rid of energy. And I told you yesterday, before the State of the Union address, that the moderate Democrats are going to say, hey, there's that place called Texas, West Texas. We can make more oil. So we're less dependent on Vladimir Putin. Bring down the price of gasoline in the United States. Stabilize our economy. Don't keep us at 105 today, folks, or 107. Bring us back to 100. Get taxes to produce some more oil. Bring it down. Stabilize this economy. Don't destabilize the economy. And then I said, I know the progressives are going to say, yeah, but go buy some more electric vehicles for $55,000 a pop. I said the president needs to pivot on this one. He needs to pivot, and he needs to say, hey, let's produce some more oil in the United States for now. It's not going to ruin our economy. We have a global political crisis with Ukraine and Russia right now. We need to produce more oil. I got to say, I want to give Joe Biden a hug because I know he doesn't want to say this, but he said, yeah, I think we need to produce a little bit more oil here. He literally had a really great moment last night, and whether it's in the presidential State of the Union address or in the comments thereafter, that said, hey, this is not destroying the economy. This is not destroying the environment, producing a little bit more oil. We need to produce a little bit more oil right now so we can't start heading to 120, 130. I can't have people lose their homes again. We can't do the recession of the 1970s. We can't do that. Just produce some oil because who cares if the air is bad for 1 week if we lose our homes? Yeah, this is obviousness. And I understand that there's certain moderate Democrats who have very strange ideas that are sort of pushing this platform. I'm just staying with the basics. Producing more oil in the United States, producing more oil in West Texas would stabilize our economy and stabilize the situation for us. Now, how about those other countries? The situation overseas is very fluid across the board. I'll be featuring tonight on Evenings LA what the president needs to do because other countries don't have West Texas in their country. They don't have the land that produces oil. And so what does the president have to do about this situation? This is very important. And folks, if he doesn't get this done right with the Western allies, then we could be in trouble, even if we're fixing the situation at home. All the latest details tonight in that special 1 hour broadcast, brand new tonight on Evenings LA at 5 o'clock. All right, let's get some money. I just feel like dripping myself in money right now, don't you? We deserve money. And boy, I am just so excited for my viewers. Viewers are just on this channel cleaning up. Every single day, another viewer cleans up with a wad of cash by listening to the recordings, understanding we're here to cash checks, not track checks, and you just surprise me every single day. If you had a success story, send me a private message, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, and also tell me if it's the first round, second round, third round. What is this? It's cash. Who cares what the cash is for? But in this case, it's third stimulus. It's for rent, utilities, mortgages, and all I care about is there's a lot of zeros behind it, and the viewers are getting lots of zeros behind it. Have you gotten thousands of dollars from this channel this week, today, yesterday? Well, listen, take notes, because I'm going to show you how to do it right now. Here is Nisi. You've heard Nisi's name just a few times on this channel. She's been featured on this channel almost every single day for over a year, and she got $30,000, $40,000 last year from this. Last week, I told you she got $10,000 more. So guess what? She ain't stopping. I love it. I love her to death. She ain't stopping. That's the concept of cashing checks. You get $30,000, you don't stop. You get another $10,000, don't stop. You get more money. Here's brand new. You're hearing for the first time. This is another Nisi update. Hey, LA, I just got confirmation I got $1,900 more paid on my light bill. Just keeps on growing and growing. $1,900. Folks, $1,900 is not 10 cents. And that's a great that's a great utility bill. I don't know how many months that would be. I mean, here in Los Angeles, that could be upwards of 3 months. It could be 4 months. That's a pretty big a utility bill, $1,900. Thank you so much for your continued support of all of us. Prayers for the good health and well wishes. P.S. You should run for president. I appreciate that. For now, I'll just wear t-shirts. I like this one. I really do. It's a shame it's not all in frame because I'm a little bit low, but it's blue on the top and yellow on the bottom. It trust me, of the things I like, this looks really nice in person. I don't know if it looks because of the overlay graphic, but I'll just wear t-shirts for now. I could not watch that State of the Union address last night. Watch the I Support Ukraine video tonight at 7 o'clock. You'll see why I couldn't watch it because those legislators haven't done anything for the situation in Ukraine. I just don't like those people. It's like they take a government job and then they sort of put their feet up. And it's time like this where there's humanitarian need in the neighboring countries like Poland, and they're just doing nothing. And I can't watch some of these Republicans and Democrats and think to myself, you know what? You got Lear jets flying you around, and what are you doing for fleeing mothers and children into Hungary? What are you doing? You're smiling in the State of the Union address. Have you done anything for the refugee situation? I don't think I could ever be president sometimes because I would literally I'd probably have a headache. I'd be cursing at them all day long, saying, you're just apathetic. Who are you? I don't associate with, you sort of look at them and you say, would I get along with any of these people? No, I wouldn't get along with any of them. And I'd probably tell them, yeah, backward. I don't care who they are, Republican or Democrats. Joe Manchin can sit on whatever side of the room he wants to sit on. I'm not sitting next to him, but I wouldn't sit next to Nancy either. I was, with that smile she had last night. I'm like, take the smirk off your face, Nancy, and get some refugee assistance to Poland. Anyway. I'm not holding back today. All right, Bill Garasiti. I love him. Boy, this is how you do it, Garasiti. He got 1 year of rent. This was yesterday. Did you miss it? Oh my God. Bear Garcia did 1 year of rent. So where you get this money? Enough of these success stories. I want you to be the success story. So get your pen and paper ready out and follow along with the membership newsletter. If you're not a member, become a member. The link's under the video right now. But you can just take notes. Follow along. Here you go. This is where you get the money from. City Hall. City House Authority. County Hall. County Housing Authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. The three things you must do. You must reach out to all the different organizations. 6 places. You must put multiple applications on file, and you must do multiple rounds. I'm going to go over those rounds in just a second. Open that membership newsletter and follow along for more. It comes out tonight at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. The membership link is under the video. And lean on those nonprofits. Get those nonprofits because sometimes they pick up the money where there's issues locally. You know, when we talk about those multiple rounds, this is what we're talking about. You know, we are now in March. So you knew this channel, get March, April, May. You can get June and July, try it. The average round viewers get is 3 to 5 months of rent. 3 to 5 months for an item, whether it's rent or utilities. You should be getting all of these, 3 to 5 months. Viewers have gotten multiple rounds. They got a round last spring, a round last summer, a round last winter. Now they're getting another round. That's why Nisi, you saw her. I'm going to have her update from 2 days ago coming up in a second. But here's Karen Phillips. She got, this was earlier this week, she got 3 months of rent and 3 utilities. There you go. Congratulations to Karen Phillips. I love her story because, you know, she needed cash. Who cares what the cash is called, so long as it has lots of zeros? She said, I lost all my jobs. I didn't know how I was going to pay my utilities or rent. And I contacted an organization, and I got 3 months of rent and utilities. LA, you're amazing. There you go. She has a roof over her shoulders, and she has utility bills paid for. Numbers start at $1. I don't care if it's $1 or $100,000. I've had viewers get $120,000 from this channel from third stimulus. Here's Mr. Garman. Charles Garman, he got $1,000 for energy assistance. Bob Bacon, you know him from the shorts and the bacon. He got 3 months of rent. And there is Brian Donahue. Oh, what a great story. He got a second round, so it means he got this money again, and he got 5 months of rent in the second round. So think about that. Well, how long was the first round? The first round was 3 to 5 months. That's almost a year of rent from watching this channel. And some of these viewers have been watching this channel since I first started covering this, which was in winter 2020. So some people have gotten these sums of money for now almost a year and a quarter, almost a year and a half. Here's Karen Joseph. She got about $40,000 last week. So get these sums of money. I mean, you should not be waiting across the board. Get these big sums of money right today. The average viewer of this channel has really been getting at least $45,000. It's third stimulus. Are checks going out? Yeah, checks are going out. My viewers are getting cash every day. For everyone who always asks, is checks going out? Yeah, my viewers are getting checks every single day on this channel. This is what I do. I train people how to get money. Get it today. Don't wait a minute across the board. Wow, what a night it is. Now, let's look at Build Back Better Act and remember that everything that is in there is staying in there, and everything that's being added in there is also being added in there. I'm going to give you a preview of what's happening tonight on Evenings LALATE, that special broadcast at 5 o'clock. But guess what? The President of the United States name-checked some of the provisions from Build Back during the State of the Union. He mentioned paid leave. He mentioned how to pay for it. He mentioned the money for the seniors last night. And no one would have thought that he would have gone into those incredible elements of details. After his comments, then his Democratic leadership, senators and House members, like House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Richard Neal, issued further statements to further validate and fill in the blanks. Let's understand, as detailed yesterday on the 4 hours of shows, 4 hours of new programming, I have 16 hours of shows yesterday. I said, President of the United States, the State of the Union address is not to give a state of the FedEx delivery address update. State of the Union address is not to give you routing information on checks. State of the Union address is not to give you the state of the delivery of the boxes to your address. State of the Union address is to tell you the health of the country. It's not to tell you where something's arriving in the mail. It's not to tell you what, It's not to tell you how many cops are going to be on the ground tomorrow in East Chicago. It's not to tell you how many oil barrels will be released in West Texas today. That's not the purpose of the State of the Union address. State of the Union address is to give you sort of broad stroke, and it's a prime time television stage dramatic event that's trying to get your TV ratings. So he's not going to put you to sleep. That's why he doesn't have fancy graphics like me. That's why he doesn't have surfboards. He doesn't have surfboards. He just has Nancy. Watching Nancy ain't going to bring in the ratings. She doesn't bring in the ratings, and she has that smile, and it doesn't really help. I tried to turn off a few times. So he's not going to tell you the checks in the State of the Union address. He doesn't have the bacon up there. Just, in the State of the Union address, he doesn't have lobster shorts to distract you, and there's no pageantry, there's no surfboards, there's no hair and makeup crowd, there's no family for coming out of the gym, to distract you. It's a generally boring show. On the scale of exciting to boring, it's very boring. So, for anyone who tuned and says, I didn't hear him say we're getting a stimulus check. That's not the purpose of the State of the Union address. His job is not to tell you. I mailed something to you. Here's the routing number. The routing number is on the screen. It's not the Home Shopping Network. We now have 5 more stimulus checks going out. They're available in purple, green, and yellow. So that's not the State of the Union address. We now have 6 more stimulus checks. They're available in purple, green, and yellow. They're available in 3 different sizes. For family 4, it's a 4-pack. And just some people think it's, it sort of feels like the Home Shopping Network. You just, Now, ironically, you know what he did say last night? He said, and as of those free COVID tests, if you got free COVID tests before, we're going to be available more free COVID tests for you as well. And he said the website you can go to get them, but he did not give you tracking information on the COVID test. He did not tell you when the COVID tests are going out. I'm not going to tell you when the COVID tests are going out. I'm not going to tell you how many COVID tests or what. So there's no details about that either. But yeah, so there we go. The great news is going to be DO2 more tonight on Evenings LA. That is a major broadcast. You don't want to miss that 1-hour special broadcast coming up tonight at 5 o'clock. Everything you need to know about SS300 and the latest comments from the Federal Reserve Chair, Jay Powell. Then we look at the price of Brent crude out of control and what the President of the United States is doing to stabilize it. Your big checks and Build Back Better Act. And we'll be looking at those incredible comments from Joe Biden that he said during last night's State of the Union address. Those details and more on a big show tonight. Tell all your friends and family, come on over. It's the 1-hour special report on Evenings LA at 5 o'clock tonight. And with that, I want you part of this incredible family. Go into this video, subscribe, like the video, and consider becoming a member. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful day, and stand with Ukraine.